What's up, YouTube? And I'm back at you with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to give my prediction for the Alabama Crimson Tide versus the Kentucky Wildcats. Huge game for Alabama. If they win this game, they clinch the SEC West and will get an invitation to go to Atlanta to play against the SEC East division winner. So lots on the line for Alabama. Got to win this game. They want to clinch the SEC West. And they're going against an opponent in Kentucky. A lot of people have written them off, especially after Georgia beat them. But still, a really, really good team is going to present a challenge to Alabama defensively, in my opinion, and offensively. But I'll just go ahead and read off the stats. You got a team in Kentucky. Got a quarterback in Devin Leary. Uh, the guy's thrown for 1,905 yards. Um, has a completion percentage of 57.4. Not exactly where you want him, as far as quarterback play. He's thrown 18 touchdowns, but has 7 interceptions. And just in my opinion, it's not the main cog in the Kentucky offense. I'm gonna get into that a few minutes. But Devin Leary, in my opinion, just a guy, just hasn't lived up to the hype, in my opinion. Talented quarterback, but just had some games where he was, inconsistent and just couldn't, I feel like, hit that ceiling of talent that he's capable of doing. But the star of this team is the guy that's in the backfield with him, and that's Ray Davis, transfer from Vanderbilt. I did a video early on, in the off season about, Ramon Davis, and I predicted that he was going to be the guy for Kentucky, and boy, has he been the guy for them. He has 148 carries with 903 yards rushing, averaging 6.1 yards a carry with 9 touchdowns. He's the guy for them. Um, Alabama's going to be challenged with stopping the run with this guy. This guy is a really, really big guy. He's tough. He runs hard, and he's going to be a tremendous challenge, for Alabama. Alabama so far has done a pretty good job of stopping the run for the most part. Had some games here and there where they allowed a lot of yardage, and they can't afford to do that in this game against Kentucky. This game is going to be played on the road for them, so it's going to be in a road uh, environment. I'm pretty sure Kentucky is going to be really, really loud, and they got to find a way to contain Ray Davis. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do in this matchup. Now, wide receiver, Kentucky has a guy in Tavion Robinson. He has 31 receptions for 462 yards receiving with 3 touchdowns. He's averaging 14.9 a reception, so that's really, really good. They also have Game Key. He has 431 yards receiving with 15. He's averaging 15.4. He has 4 touchdowns. They also have Raymond Davis. He's caught the ball a couple of times out the backfield. He has 227 receiving yards, and he has 5 touchdowns. So he's actually, like I said, he's the guy for the offense. He can catch out the backfield and running out the backfield, run north and south, man. Just really, really key cog in their offense. And like I said, with Dane Key, Tavion Robinson, he also got Marion Brown. He has 358 yards receiving, and he got 2 touchdowns. So this Kentucky team has accounted for 18 total touchdowns receiving this season, and they're just doing a heck of a job. Like I said, Ray Davis, he's accounted for 9 of the Actually, Kentucky has 12 total rushing touchdowns, and he's accounted for 9 of them. So it just goes to show you how dynamic of a player he is for the Kentucky Wildcats. Now, switch over to their defense. Defensively, Kentucky is a pretty good team defensively. Sack-wise, they have 23 sacks on the season. Sack yards, they have 171. So very, very disruptive unit, for Kentucky. As long as Mark Stoops has been there, Kentucky has always been a really, really good defensive team because he's a defensive-minded coach. And he's one of those coaches that does more with less, if you understand what I'm saying. At Kentucky, they don't necessarily get the 5 stars and stuff like that. But Kentucky is always able to compete in the SEC. And you got to tip your hat off to a guy and Mark Stoops, man. He does a phenomenal job with the team that he has, and he just basically squeezed out the best that he can out of them. And I really admire coaches like that. Defensively, uh, De De'Eric Jackson, he's leading the team with the total tackles with 58. He has 1 sack on the season, but he has 2 pass defendeds and 2 interceptions. So very, very disruptive guy. Guy that's all over the field at the linebacker position. Um, at D-line, they got Deion Walker. He has 30 total tackles. He has 4.5 sacks. He has 1 pass defended. They also had Trevin Wallace. He has 4.5 sacks. He has 1 interception. So, like I said, the linebacker play for Kentucky is really, really good. The defense overall is really, really good, from top to bottom. Maxwell Harrison at DB, he has 5 interceptions. So, Alabama better be careful in this matchup. Kentucky is a very, very capable team of giving Alabama's offense problems. No offense to LSU, but LSU defense wasn't really, really good. And I would think that Kentucky overall, in my opinion, is going to present a better challenge. Of course, LSU's more talented than Kentucky, especially at every spot on the defense. But, and of course, LSU had a pretty good, uh, talented defensive, D-line. But I'm not, trying to downgrade anything about Kentucky. Kentucky is very, very capable of coming this matchup and getting some sacks. Alabama has problems with sacks, every game, and Kentucky can definitely do that in its matchup and cause some problems for Alabama up front. So Alabama's offensive line has to block up front, to prevent, Kentucky creating havoc. This defensive unit for Kentucky is very, very capable of doing that, and they're going to be, in my opinion, better on the back end, that defense, much better than what LSU was able to produce. So even though Alabama, in my opinion, didn't take advantage of it, but they got to be careful. Jalen Miro better be careful in this matchup. Like I said, Maxwell Harrison has 5 interceptions, so they're very, very talented. But it's going to be interesting to see what Kentucky brings. Now, for Alabama, of course, Jalen Miro thrown for 1,836 yards. Uh, he has a completion percentage of 64.8, which is pretty good. Has one of the highest, you know, uh, deep ball percentages in college football. Um, that's attributed to the type of player he is. Teams try to play the run, especially in his last matchup against LSU. He put his legs on display. Will he be able to do that in this Kentucky matchup? Is going to be interesting to see. Kentucky, in my mind, is going to be better prepared defensively, so I'm pretty sure they're going to put a spy out there on Jalen Miro. But it's going to be interesting to see if he can use his legs in this matchup. But so far, like I said, Jalen Miro had a coming out game last game. Like I said, using his legs, didn't really pass the ball as much. It's going to be interesting to see what Tommy Rees dials up, as far as passing the ball in this matchup. Because, like I said, Kentucky is really, really good defensive unit, in my opinion. Jace McClellan leads the team in rush yards with 632, 5 touchdowns. Got a touchdown his last matchup against LSU. So, really, really good, running back room for Alabama. Of course, Rodell Williams got some plays in last game. He got a touchdown his last game. Jalen Miro, like I said, 297 yards rushing on the season with 9 touchdowns. Jalen Miro has the most touchdowns out of everybody as far as rushing yards. So uh, he doesn't have the highest rushing yards, but he has the most touchdowns. So that just shows you how good Jalen Miro is with his legs. Just a talented room. Jay Miller's got some carries as well. So uh, Alabama would like to try to establish the run against this Kentucky defense, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be ready for the Alabama running game. Receiving wise, Jermaine Burton still leads the team with 537 total receiving yards. He has 5 touchdowns. He's the leader, for Alabama as far as receiving touchdowns and receiving yards. But a guy Isaiah Bond, he's a guy that has been involved in the passing game. And Amari Knobloch, I expect Alabama to use Amari Knobloch a little bit more, down the stretch. This guy, a great mismatch, but a really, really talented player. So it's going to be interesting to see how Alabama's wide receiver core matches up with Kentucky's DBs. Like I said, I think Kentucky got a really, really good DB, good secondary. So uh, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that matchup. Defensively, Alabama had some struggles against LSU in their last matchup. Um, LSU going into that matchup had the number one offense in the country, and Alabama allowed 28 points to that great offense that was averaging, if I'm not mistaken, like 47 points a game or something like that. So Alabama made some halftime adjustments and was able to shut down, for the most part, LSU's offense in the second half. I believe that LSU only got, a touchdown in the beginning of the third quarter in the second half. And other than that, LSU wasn't able to score. So going to be interesting to see what happens in this matchup. Of course, Alabama got the leading tackler, Caleb Downs, freshman, doing a phenomenal job with 76 total tackles. He has 2 interceptions on the season and 1 pass defended. Deontay Lawson, he's second on the team. Not sure if he's going to be able to play. I think he's going to be day-to-day, according, I think, what Nick Saban said about him. But just a talented defensive front for Alabama. Just a talented defense overall. Got guys like, Justin Igbokwe, Tresman Marshall, Jaheed Campbell, Dallas Turner. Just a great defensive front. Overall, Alabama has 29 total sacks on the season. Interceptions, they have 8. So really, really good team with 28 pass defended. So pretty good defense, overall. And both units, Alabama and Kentucky, got really, really good defenses. It's going to be could potentially be a defensive slugfest at first. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, read off the team stats. Alabama is averaging total points a game of 31.8. Not Alabama's norm. Alabama's known for getting in the 40s as far as points, but the style of play this year, for Alabama, they like to run the ball, play really, really good defense. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Can they get over 30 points in this matchup against Kentucky? Is going to be key for them. Rushing yards, Alabama. I'm going to read off the passing yards. Alabama's getting 219 yards through the air. That's okay. You would like to see a little bit more of that, but like I said, considering the type of offense that Alabama runs, they're pretty balanced. So you may get like 219 from them, but then rushing wise, they're getting 162, which is really, really good. Like I said, like in previous videos, anything 150 and above, you're doing really, really good running the ball. So Alabama runs the ball effectively when they want to do it. So really, really good team overall. Read off Kentucky's stats. Kentucky's averaging 30 points a game. So like I said, which team is going to get to 30? Both of these teams average around the same amount of points, although Alabama in the last matchup was able to get 42. So Alabama is capable of getting more points. It just depends on, the play of the quarterback and Jalen Miro. Are they willing to get that? Because Alabama has kind of stalled on some drives here and there. But for the most part, they had a really, really good game against LSU. Passing yards for Kentucky. Kentucky's averaging 212 yards a game. So just like Alabama. Alabama had 219. Kentucky has 212. So they're neck and neck with that. Rushing yards a game. Kentucky's getting 140, so just shy, 10 yards shy of getting 150, but still a really, really good stat line. They would like to get more of that in this matchup against Alabama. But I'm gonna read off the last four opponents that each team played. Well, last five. I'm sorry. Alabama, they beat Mississippi State 40-17. They beat Texas A&M 26-20 on the road. Both of those games was on the road. You know, that was the only other time Alabama at Mississippi State was able to get over, 30 points. Was able to eclipse 40. Arkansas, Alabama beat them 24-21. They beat Tennessee 34-20, and they beat LSU in their last matchup 42-28. Kentucky, they beat Florida 33-14. They lost to Georgia at, in Athens 51-13. Lost to Missouri 38-21. They lost to Tennessee 33-27, and they was able to get a victory over Mississippi State, and they beat them 24-3. So those were the last five opponents for both teams. This game is going to be played in Kroger Field, so Alabama has to travel. Right now, Alabama, the line is at 10.5 for Alabama. I had to give my prediction for this matchup. I got Alabama win this matchup. If Alabama continues to do what they did in their last matchup, have Jalen Miro run the ball, um, pick up some extra yardage, you know, just keep the chains moving, in the prior games, it seems like his decisiveness, making a play was kind of, he was taking too long to do it. He holds on to the ball too long, or, uh, he gets sacked, So that's going to be key in this matchup. His decision making, you got to be quick with it. He has improved. He started hitting his checkdowns more often. The only thing, his passing game wasn't really up to par in the last matchup. He definitely got to step that up, but this could be a dangerous team to do that against. He got to make the right decisions when he's going to decide to throw the ball. But I think at first it's going to be a defensive slugfest, but maybe in the first quarter. But I think Alabama will get into a groove starting the second quarter, and they'll figure out Kentucky's weaknesses. And I think they're just going to be able to run the ball a little bit better in this matchup. They didn't really run they ran really good against LSU, but not in the manner that we thought they was going to do it. Like I said, Jalen Miro accounted for most of the yardage in that matchup. I think he got like 156 yards on the ground. So I think we'll get more of a traditional way of running the ball. I think Kentucky is going to be prepared for him in this matchup, and I think that opens up the door for Jason McClellan and Rodell and guys like that to be able to run the ball. Like I said, Alabama's going to have to be careful, though, with Kentucky's front. They are capable of getting in the backfield again to Jalen Miro. So I can see Alabama uh, passing more in this matchup than they did in the last matchup against LSU. And I think Jalen Miro is going to get back to, have a good game passing the ball. But he's still going to be dangerous with his legs. I think Ray Davis is going to I think Alabama's going to have to get adjusted to him at first. Just figure out how he is, as far as him run the ball. If he gets yardage after, contact, Alabama might have a long day, in this matchup, because Kentucky is a very physical team. But Alabama has played physical teams this season. Arkansas, in my opinion, although they're not as strong as they were the last couple of seasons, Arkansas is a very, physical team. So I expect Alabama to win this matchup. Um, I can see a scenario where Alabama wins big. I think Kentucky's play style fits. It plays right into Alabama's hand. Alabama loves to stop the run and like to pin their ears back. And I expect Alabama's defensive line to get more sacks than they did in the last matchup. I think they only got like 2 in the last matchup against Jaden Daniels. But Devin Leary, he's not as athletic as Jaden Daniels, and I expect Alabama to have a better performance overall in this matchup. But what do you guys think? Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And once again, if you haven't, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll definitely be back with more college football content. Thanks, guys, and roll tide.